The Isle of Wight, on the south coast of England, has long been an idyllic summer getaway. To many, it is known best for sailing regattas and music festivals. But the island is one troubled spot in a particular national trend. It has some of the worst performing schools in England. Last year, they were judged to be so bad that the nearby County Council of Hampshire was invited to intervene, an unprecedented step.
When we began to get involved, probably only about 1 in 14 of secondary-age children on the island were going to a good school. Attendance in schools, particularly in secondary schools, was frankly disastrous, way worse in the country.
The Isle of Wight is not unique. England's worst schools used to be urban, overwhelmingly poor and black, or sometimes Asian. Today, the worst results are seen in suburbs, market towns and on the coast, and particularly among poor white children.
When I first started teaching, the great concern was children who'd come to England and were speaking English as another language, as one of their additional languages. And at that time, those children were performing really badly. There's been a transformation in the last 20 years. Additional language children are achieving better than English-only speaking children, which is quite a shock.
In GCSEs, the exams usually taken at 16, poor white British pupils get the lowest grades. Nationally, 59% of pupils in England got 5 good GCSEs, including English and Maths, in 2012. Affluent white pupils get similar results, but just 1/3 of white British children who qualify for free school meals, a proxy for measuring poverty, achieved that level. That yawning gap in performance is the widest of any group. Poor white pupils have been struggling for some time, and the government is increasingly aware of the problem. Solving it demands an understanding of why it is so bad.
What we've seen in some of the rural areas, you've seen performance not move on the way that everybody wants it to. Number one, maybe we haven't resourced those areas in the same way. And two, we haven't had the education effort that you might have seen in London when people really, not just schools, everybody got behind the endeavour of driving up education as a core element of regeneration, of economic progress, of everything, social regeneration of a community. And that collective effort hasn't been evident in some of those areas yet.
The Isle of Wight, which is neither very rich nor extremely poor, but is certainly white and isolated, exemplifies the problem. There, students perform 15 percentage points below the national average. Yet even on the Isle of Wight, there are success stories. Pat Goodhead is the headmistress of Christ the King College, a state secondary school on the Isle of Wight that is defying expectations. Christ the King is the only school on the island to be rated good by Ofsted, the school's inspectorate. When it predicted high grades for its pupils, the local authorities said that their forecasts were unrealistic. In fact, the school exceeded them, closing a gap that persists elsewhere.
The headline figure, they outperformed by 20% any 5A to C figure that the island had ever seen, but nationally put these students' performances in the top category across the country. Our free school meals children all are performing as well as, and sometimes better than, the non-free school meal students. They're doing very, very well indeed.
The school is doing what decent schools everywhere do. Educators focus on each pupil individually.
I have staff who take specific responsibility for knowing who our free school meals children are, who the children are who might be going through difficult personal circumstances. So it's not about larger teams, it's about the right teams, the right people, the right support for those people as well.
In general, poor children do best in schools where they are either very few or very numerous. Most ill-served are those in places such as the Isle of Wight, where there are too few to merit much attention, but too many to succeed alone. The pupil premium, money given to schools on the basis of how many pupils qualify for free school meals, has helped some, but it is far from a cure-all.
Now, there isn't a binary relationship between more money, better results. But if you get more money and you use it well, use it the way that evidence demonstrates you get the best effect, then you can see progress.
Places such as the Isle of Wight might look to East London for inspiration. Bangladeshis, who are concentrated in the London borough of Tower Hamlets, the third most deprived place in England, now do better than whites nationally, whether or not they qualify for free meals. This success came from a concerted effort by educators, parents and local institutions.
I think it's well known that in the very best schools, underachievement by students is taken very seriously. So if a student begins to underachieve, something is done by the afternoon or next week. In the worst schools, people simply wait till Christmas to see if things get better. And one of the things we're trying to do is to put the systems in place that lead to really good assessment, tracking of student progress, interventions, so on and so forth.
In my experience, I have never met a parent who doesn't want the best for his or her child. But I have met parents who don't know, A, what the best could be, and therefore don't recognise the absolute true potential of their child and how well they can perform. And secondly, linked to that, what they can do to help and support that child.
Raising standards for this latest group of poor performers may come down to ensuring that they have faith in the opportunities that education can bring.
The Economist.